MASN Zone, Steve Melewski. And Steve, you just heard it. This has kind of been the mantra of the Orioles for a little over 2 seasons now. Just water off their back when they do take a loss again. But these have been some tougher ones. Everything's meant a little more to them lately. And the schedule hasn't been the most favorable for them in this high-stress stretch either.
Well, I think a fair question that was asked of the Orioles after the game yesterday was, is this catching up to this team? They're in a stretch of 30 games in 31 days, and the quality of the opponent has been as challenging as the physical nature of playing every day. But look at what they've done, and this counts the last 2 days. When they've lost, this is the only series they've lost in this stretch. So it's a grueling stretch of baseball. And again, in this stretch, look at how the team has performed. That's a 103-win pace, by the way, if you go 14-8 over every 22 games all year. And they're scoring nearly 6 runs a game. The pitching is very good. They have won series in this stretch against the Phillies, the Yankees, the Braves. They swept the Rays 4 in St. Petersburg. So it's hard to argue with what they're doing in this stretch. They've been beaten twice this weekend in Houston, and Brandon Hyde said Friday before the game, don't let the record fool you. This is a playoff team. We know their history. We know their talent level. So I say, Mel, if the Orioles stub their toe in Houston, and they have, we could almost be a little forgiving of it. Look at the challenge they faced here over the last 3 weeks. And by the way, counting today, it's 8 games in 8 days going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one here. I know they're all looking forward to that day off, but this is something I did want fans to at least be aware of, is the fact that they say, well, the schedule isn't fair. They have to go for a month without having a day. How does anybody else do this? This happens to every single team at some point in their season. Last year for the Orioles, it was my opinion that it came at the worst end of the schedule because it was at the very end of the year. They had to go through September, and really the only off day they had, well, it was following a West Coast red-eye flight. So not much of an off day when you're landing at 10 a.m. and then, by the way, you roll right into playoffs. So I'd rather take this crunch right now where you have a kind of a time to brush it off, like you said.
And let's see how they fare going forward, because as Jordan Westberg said, guys, we lost 2 games. There's going to be some losses here. So today they faced Framber Valdez, and actually the last 2 years they hit him well. 13 runs against him in like 12 1/3. He started once against them in 22 and once in 2023. Adley moves to the leadoff. He's hit Valdez. He's done well in the leadoff 41 times last year. So let's see how they do moving forward. They get to be home starting tomorrow night. The quality of the opponent is still good. The world champion Rangers will be in Baltimore tomorrow, and again the Astros today. So it's been quite a run for the Orioles, one they're holding up well in to this point.
Well, and you mentioned Albert Suarez. Something I did want to look at with him is the fact that his 2 starts in terms of usage, pitch arsenal, everything else, was pretty much the same between the Braves and the Yankees. Now, Yankees had a lot more line drives instead of fly ball outs like we saw from Atlanta, and obviously he gave up a career high in 5 walks. He had never gone over 3 before that. So where do you look at turning the ship with him today?
You know, the guy had pitched so well for this Oriole team in the bullpen and the rotation. He's been a lifesaver. What a year. What a story Albert Suarez is. All these seasons recently in Korea and Japan. But in New York, he felt he got too fine. He was trying to hit corners too much. He got away from pitching to contact. He got behind in too many counts. He walked 5. Very unlike him. So he told me yesterday his plan for today is to get back to who he is. Pitch to contact, outs earlier in the contact. And I asked him, what is pitch to contact? And for any pitcher, they'll tell you it's filling up the zone with strikes. The Yankees saw he was nibbling, and they took a lot of pitches. They followed the script there. If the Astros see early he's filling up the zone, he's getting ahead of hitters, they're not going to wait around. And maybe that creates some early count outs. That's what he's looking for. That's been a key to his success so far.
Oh, and hopefully it'll bring him a little good luck. Again, he now calls Houston his home, so maybe some good vibes going for him there as well. Steve, thanks as always for breaking this one down with us.
You got it.